Thank you so much. That was lovely. So I think we've heard this saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I wanted to share that it actually takes a village of talented, generous people to put together a celebration in honor of Anna Jo. I want to give some special recognition to Mayor Michael B. Hancock and the Denver City Council for making this honor for Anna Jo possible. The staff from the Office of Children's Affairs, Mikel Falfiades, Tracy Breckenridge, and of course Aaron Brown, who you'll hear from a little bit later. The City and County of Denver, in particular from Parks and Recreation, the group or the team led by Doug Woods, Scott Gilmore, John Martinson, and the director of Glenarm Rec Center, Amanda Siriano. You'll also see the work of our facilities department from the city, led by Yvonne Chavez, with thanks to Janine Valdez, Paul Mondragon, Monte Thomas, and you'll notice how beautiful everything is set up, so thank you very much. I also want to thank our event planning committee, with special gratitude to Tracy Winchester, Tracy Lovett, Happy Haynes, and Teresa V. Hill. I would like to recognize the Mile High staff. They've been working for the past 2 weeks, month, on making sure that everything looks great. So thank you. Our sponsors for the event include 5 Points Business District, Elbra Wedgeworth, and Mile High Early Learning. And you'll notice that we have cameras rolling with Bernard Grant, a video with Sterling Gilmore, so be sure and smile for them. So our event starts today. We're going to have a number of speakers with special connection to Anna Jo. We will be unveiling the Anna Jo Garcia Haynes Early Learning Center, led by our drummers. That's back around at the entrance to the center. And then we have a lovely reception with food from Bird Call, Deep Rock Water, Dunbar Kitchen and Tap House, Kona Ice, Osage Cafe, Rosenberg's Bagels and Delicatessen, and the Rolling Pin Bake Shop. It really does take a village. We will also have the Malik Wind Trio featuring Will Alston playing for you on the playboard. So, as we said, it takes a village to raise a child, a community of people coming together, interacting with children, helping them to grow and thrive in a safe and healthy environment. One of the first times I heard Anna Jo speak, she actually shared another story, this one from Kenya. She told the story of the Maasai and how in their culture, they greet each other with the question, how are the children? And for the Maasai, their society cannot be well unless all the children are well. Good timing. It was planned. So Anna Jo has centered her life on answering this question with a positive response. Yes, the children are well. And this question, I believe, goes to the heart and health of our society. And when the children are not well, Anna Jo has been a brave warrior in fighting for changes that will ensure that children will become well, that the priorities of protecting our young are in place, and that peace and safety prevail. I am greeted by this question posted on my door every day, a legacy and a gift from Anna Jo. So So thank you, Anna Jo, for continuing the fight and for rallying all of us to make sure that our children are indeed well. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Erin Brown, Executive Director of the Denver Office of Children's Affairs, who will be the MC for your program today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. I'm just really walking into this room and just watching it fill up, and the love and the chatter and the hugs and the kisses. I have chills. And I know standing here before you this afternoon, I absolutely knew I and everyone in this room probably has a professional and a personal story on how Anna Jo has truly touched their lives. And I've been fortunate to be one of those who has had that opportunity. Just quickly, just want to share a quick on Anna Jo with you, and I also have the pleasure today to be your mistress of ceremonies. But I remember probably my first encounter with Anna Jo. I was a 20-something starting my career at the East Denver YMCA. How many remember the East Denver YMCA, right? And we were really talking, how do we grow program? And my first encounter, she came and spoke to us and our director at the time and said, we really have to do a better job of ensuring that children all around our city have access to early childhood education. And we're like, well, what does that look like? How do we do that? And so she continued to work, as she always does, bringing folks together, being creative around what this looks like, and really understanding the need and the pulse of the community. And so because of Anna Jo's leadership, we were one of the first off-site early childhood programs sponsored by the school district. And that was like in the early 90s. And really from that, we continued to grow. And of course, we all know, sitting in this room today, that Anna Jo's leadership and advocacy around our young people never stops. And I think after that, probably a couple of years later, she came back and she said, we need a Head Start site. We have wait lists in these neighborhoods. Kids need quality programming. What else can we do? We figured it out. We opened up a satellite Child Opportunity Head Start full-time program also. So we were serving double the amount of kids as well. And even during that time, she stopped by regularly, she visited. I remember the day she showed up with the cutout. Everyone probably remembers these. Remember the cutout of the little people? And she brought them and she says, I want your kids to decorate them and put them in your windows, and we're going to get DPP on the ballot so all our kids can have access to early childhood experience. And so just that early on, she's continued to touch my life. And then really personally, I took some time away. I started a family, and I remember when I had to make the decision, I'm probably going to have to find care for my children so I could go back and work full time. And I saw Anna Jo at a function, and I just asked her, I said, so here's what I'm thinking. My son's going to be 2.5 soon. Here's the places I've been looking at, but here's where I feel is the right place for him. And so it was a Montessori program here in Denver. And I said, is that good? Like, is he going to be okay? And she said, yes. It's going to be fine. And he did do great. Now he's a rising sophomore. And I sent my daughter to the same place. But just those early starts, not that I didn't know because I got the chance to see it, but it's always really near and dear to your heart when it's your own children. And then just really lastly, and she has just been a tremendous mentor to me as well, being there for me not only as a parent, but as a professional. And when I took this role in Office of Children's Affairs, Anna Jo was one of the first people I sat down and spoke to, and just really wanted to understand the education landscape for children in Denver and what was important to families and children. And even to this very day, I think we probably meet every couple of months for coffee, and we're thought partners. And oftentimes she kind of reassures my soul when I'm feeling restless. And so I just thank her so much for just being a part of my journey. And I know that she's been a part of many, many journeys in this room. So just thank you. Thank you for that. And now I'd like to introduce your council president, and I'm going to get this right. It's the District 9, District 9, did I get it? 5? District 9, 5, right in there. I'm sorry, I messed it up. But at any rate, I'm so sorry. I was trying to be cool and have that whole thing going, but so happy to have Albus Brooks here to speak with you today.
Good afternoon. First, I want to apologize to Miss Anna Jo Haynes. I'm not in a suit and tie today because I'm about to take these babies to Elogis, so I apologize. But I didn't think you would mind if I talked about the kids. I'm so excited, and the Denver City Council is honored to unveil this building as the Anna Jo Haynes. I just call it the Anna Jo Haynes building, her legacy building. And come on now. And I gotta say, you really understand and know a person by the great cloud of witnesses that show up and celebrate a person. You are honored, you are blessed. Your legacy, whew, is beautiful. And this building completes the trilogy that is happening on this corner. I don't know if many of you know what the trilogy is. The Edward Wedgeworth building right across the street. The Lenora B. Quick Park across the street as well. And we are surrounded by great women. Come on now. Women who lead us, women who have transformed our community, and now women who are cemented forever on this part of the city. So Proverbs 13:22 says, a wise man, but in this case, a wise woman, leaves an inheritance for her children's children. I want to just show you your inheritance real quick. Babies, come on up here real quick. Don't be shy. No, you was all excited before, now you're shy. So in 2011, I got elected, and one of the first people I met with was Anna Jo Haynes, and she sat me down and really talked to me about early childhood education. Not just policy, but the importance of investing in your young people. And at that time, we made a radical shift in our household, mostly my wife, Debbie, and said, you know what, we're going to commit to an hour and a half a night of reading, of word identification, of understanding the world, right? And it has changed these young people's lives. And I needed that before I took the policy to the next level and reauthorize our childhood tax for preschool tax. And so I sponsored that in 2015, and it was because of you. So both personally and professionally, you've changed my life, and you changed this whole room's life. And so we're honored to unveil this building, and we want to thank you. Let's give it up one more time for Anna Jo Haynes.
Councilman Brooks. And now I want to introduce to you Monique Lovato. Monique is currently the president and CEO of Mikasa Resource Center here in Denver, but she also has a strong Anna Jo connection. She has a child that is a Mile High Learning Center graduate, and she also served as their board chair for Mile High Learning Center. So I'd like to invite Monique to come up and say a few words.
Good afternoon. When your kids get to be teenagers, they don't want to come up here to the podium with me, but I'm going to talk about my son today. So, Anna Jo obviously started Mile High Child Care, which became Mile High Montessori, which became Mile High Early Learning. And it was actually the very first board of directors that I ever served on. And way back then, I was working for myself, and thank goodness I had a place where my son could get a quality education 18 years ago, right across the parking lot. Miss Ethel was running the place, Miss Tracy, Miss Vivian, are some of Creed's teachers. And Creed is here today, Raise your hand, Creed. There he is. Yeah. Pull your pants up, please. So Creed and his dad, who's also here today, we are so proud of the young man that Creed has become. And he got his educational start right here, Mile High Early Learning, across the parking lot. And he graduated last year from Denver School of Arts with a 4.07 weighted grade point average. In April, he finished a 7-month welding program at Emily Griffith Technical College. And in the fall, he's enrolling in Metro State University, and he's thinking about starting his own welding business. So it's going to be fun driving by this, down the street, be able to see Anna Jo's name in the building. But we all know that her legacy really is more than that building, more than all the buildings that are part of Mile High Early Learning. It's all the thousands of kids like Creed. It's all the moms and the families, really all over the metro area who have benefited. And from Anna Jo's leadership, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other things. In the program, it talks about Anna Jo as a leader and a civil rights advocate. So Anna Jo has inspired me. She's probably been, she's been a reference for me on every job I've had for the last 20 years. How many of you have Anna Jo as a reference? Yep, that's what I thought. And she's really inspired the work that I'm doing today. As Erin said, I'm the CEO of Mikasa Resource Center, and the families that, and Anna Jo helped me, just like Erin, she sat down with me and helped me strategize about how to get that job, and she's been a supporter of, in the last 2.5 years that I've been there, as a thought partner about how to serve the families that we serve at Mikasa Resource Center. So, as I said, it's wonderful to have this building, but it's really all about the people and all about the families. And thank you, Anna Jo, for everything you've done for my family. I can't even count all the things you've done for my family, and probably a lot of things that I don't even know about. And then I also want to mention, Anna Jo inspired me to join the Circle of Latino Leadership, and your partner Juan is here in the building also, and there are several graduates of the Circle of Latino Leadership that are here today. So more than 100 women that are leaders here in the community. So it's amazing to think about someone who probably weighs less than 120 pounds and the multiplier effect that she has had on this community and all the families and kids. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, Anna Jo, for everything that you've done.
Thank you, Monique. And just like I said, she's touched everybody in this room. I'd like next to have Happy Haynes come up, Anna Jo's daughter. And before she does, I just want to thank you all as her children for sharing her with us. She has raised and nurtured true leaders. I know you all walk in her spirit, have had the pleasure to work alongside you and with you as well. And so thank you for that. Happy?
Thank you so much, Erin, and thank you all for being here today. This is just so amazing and so inspiring. I'm speaking today on behalf of my siblings, Khadijah, Michael, Mary, Leanne, and also Anna Jo's 7 grandchildren. At my mother's rewirement celebration, do you all remember? Many of you will remember that I said then that we, her children, taught her everything she knows. It is true. From her 5 children, she learned about early childhood, about adolescence, and about putting multiple children through college at the same time. I do think that's why she chose to remain in the early childhood field. Those of you who know my mom well know that she is singularly focused on learning and and putting into practice or into policy the best strategies and practices to nurture, protect, and teach and inspire children. As far back as when I was in preschool, and that was a long time ago, she was exploring and testing early childhood strategies. You've probably heard her explain how each day after I attended George Washington Carver Nursery, just a few blocks from here, she dutifully tried to engage me in conversation about how my day was and what I had done. This significance, the significance of what she was doing was totally lost on me at that time. In fact, it was somewhat annoying. Probably because I had been most likely in trouble that day and didn't want to talk about it. But today I know it as a best practice. She still has that conversation with me and many of my other siblings often, by the way, and I bet it is true for many of you who are parents in this room. She became one of those PTA moms that was always at the school. I got so tired of other kids telling me, "Your mom is here, I saw your mom." I didn't realize or appreciate until much later in life that they were expressing envy, that they wished their own parents could have been as much engaged. Then I got to watch my mom perform pure financial wizardry as she put first me and then my siblings through college on an early childhood educator's salary. I don't have to tell all of you, I don't have to tell all of you how challenging that was and how, unfortunately, the low pay for early childhood workforce is still a challenge today. But I digress into politics, which I also learned from her. How many of you have been in a room with my mother ever that she didn't take the opportunity to advocate on some issue involving kids, education, or women's empowerment? There are probably no hands that will go up in this room, I'm sure. Besides being a children's advocate, my mother has always been a fierce civil rights activist, pushing for equal opportunity in jobs, education, and housing. In many ways, all of this work was devoted to the welfare and the future of her own kids and for everyone else's. Even her early work in women's empowerment was about strengthening families and ensuring a bright future for kids. No matter what she does, it always comes back to the children. My mom is a member of the, if I had known grandchildren were so wonderful, I would have skipped the children and started with the grandchildren club. From teaching her oldest grandson how to play baseball and reading her favorite books to each one of them, to giving them a break from their parents and providing advice to both console and challenge them, she has been a special mentor to each of her grandchildren. Here's what a couple of them had to say. Chris, her oldest grandson, says, "She's always been just Grandmasita to me, as a kid and even as a young adult. And yet, knowing how she's literally been Grandmasita to so many other children and families, regardless of blood ties or last name. In addition, I've always unconsciously been passionate for our youth and community, and I now truly know where that passion has come from. So honored to be her grandson, and I promise to uphold the legacy and give back to our community, just as she did. Hopefully others will follow her example, because that is what we truly need to make change and to impact our community. I just send my love and appreciation for her." Her grandson Brock shared this sentiment. It's great to see my grandmother recognized for her lifelong commitment to improving education for children across the region. I hope the groundwork she has laid provides a strong foundation as we continue to move forward. So Pamela started this session here today talking about my mom's story from Africa. So I'm going to end with this. My mom and I recently traveled to East Africa, attending a women's leadership conference in Uganda, visiting the Genocide Museum in Rwanda, and gorilla trekking in the mountains of Uganda. Everyone was amazed at the energy and passion of this 84-year-old grandmother. Yes, even in Africa, she became everyone's grandmother and mentor. They reverently called her Mukaka, which means grandmother, and treated her like she was a queen. When they learned she was called Grandmasita by her grandchildren, they started calling her Mukakasita. She traveled halfway around the world, and they just couldn't believe how energetic and strong and passionate she is. But I've been trying to keep up with her my whole life, and so I'm not surprised at how amazing my mother is. I love you, Mother.
That's absolutely a tough to follow, but we have someone that can do that. Our next speaker I want to introduce is our mayor, Michael B. Hancock. He has been a champion for young people for, 20 plus years. We actually had the privilege too. We kind of run this career track somewhat together. She just moved a lot faster than I did. But at any rate, really had the opportunity to work side by side with him, wanting to continue to meet basic needs for our families and our children, pushing us as leaders to stand up, have voice, be advocates for children, and then leading an administration where young people are always at the forefront of what we do. Just a quick city story, we're in the middle of the budget cycle. And every year we think about budget cycle, we say, what are our priorities? Every year, youth is a priority for our city. And the mayor often says to me, you show your priorities around how you spend your money. And so I just thank him for his continued leadership around this. So excited the day he called me and said, let's name a building after Anna Jo, go find one. Glad to be here to celebrate it along with you and with the mayor of Denver, Michael B. Hancock.
Thank you. This is a day that I've been waiting for so long. Let me acknowledge a few to show you the breadth and reach of this amazing woman in our community. Share with you who's in this room, besides all of you who are our honored guests and dear friends and family of the one and only Anna Jo Garcia Haynes. Let me acknowledge State Representative James Coleman, State Representative Leslie Harrod. Of course, we've had Council President Alvis Brooks, but he is also joined by Councilwoman Stacy Gilmore. Y'all stand up, come on now, y'all. Is Councilman Chris Herman here? Have a list. Council, former State Representative Rosemary Marshall is in the house. Former Councilwoman and member of the Board of Education, Rosemary Rodriguez is here as well. Several boxes here. We got several former DPS Board of Education members, Teresa Pena, Mike Johnson, and Benny Milliner are in the house. State Director of Human Services, Reggie Mika, is here. Oh, let me go back. We also got the President of the Board of Education, Ann Rowe, is in the house. I have on the list. And Barbara O'Brien is here, State Board of Education, Vice President, State Board of Education. Excuse me, the EPS Board of Education. We also have the Executive Director of Five Points Business Association, Tracy Winchester, in the house. And current EPS Board of Education member, Jennifer Bacon, is here as well. Give her a round. Jennifer Bacon. Oh, Dr. Sharon Bailey is here as well. I'm sorry. I didn't see you sitting there. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Another one of our great education leaders. I looked around this room. Oh, Pat Stedman is in the house. Where is our former legislator here? There you are. Former State Senator Pat Stedman, thank you. I look around this room, and one of the things that becomes very apparent is that Anna Jo Haynes is someone who is intersectional and intergenerational. This room, if you look around, we have legends in the room like Anna Jo Garcia Haynes. Dan Ritchie, Dana Crawford is here, Gene Shelton, John Bailey. But you also have a new generation of leaders like Albus Brooks and Stacy Gilmore. I'm kind of in the middle age. But I want to also share with you the impact that Anna Jo has had on me and my administration. So in this room is also Team Hancock. And it's filled with, well, there's several of them here. I'm going to ask you, because she helped me shape the administration. She helped me lay the foundation of the administration. She chaired both of my campaigns for mayor. I'm going to ask if Team Hancock would stand up and just, if you would join me acknowledging these wonderful public servants as well. Stephanie O'Malley, Sean Johnson. We got Julia Gales and Ross Austin, Aaron Blanton. Thank you all. So we're going to go quick because we want to open up this meeting. Anna Jo Garcia Haynes. The Bible also teaches us, Council President Brooks, that you will know them by the fruit that they bear. At the end of this journey for all of us, there are two things that will matter most. One will be the branches that we've created. Beyond Leanne and Mary, and that boss sitting right there, this boss back here, and Michael and the the 7 grandchildren. Anna Jo's branches are deep. There is not an elected official in Denver, Colorado today or in the last 40 years who are not at one point connected to Anna Jo Haynes. And that says a lot, but beyond just elected officials, businesses and agendas and issues that we touch, Anna Jo has been there. Council President Brooks brought his beautiful children up here, who we've all been a part of and watched them begin to grow. When I was 24, 25, I sat at her feet. My oldest daughter had already been born, but Mary Louise and I were pregnant with our son. And I went to her and she said to me, she says, "You got a baby on the way." And I said, "Yeah." She says, "I want you to go home tonight. You start tonight and you keep doing this. I want you to go and talk to Mary Louise's stomach. I want you to read to Mary Louise's stomach." And for a 24, 25-year-old, I looked at her like, this woman has been sniffing something. Maybe she got a hold of some of that product before we got it on sale here in Denver. But it was weird, but I started doing it. Every one of our children have always been ahead in terms of that chart that they use in their development. Anna Jo, because of the foundation you laid with us as parents, God willing, in 2 years we'll be able to say all 3 of our children have graduated with degrees from college. In fact, my oldest daughter is here all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, having just received her master's degree from Georgia State just last month. And so here's what I want to say. When I was elected mayor, I said, I want to do a few things. I want to pull this city from the recession. We want to create jobs. We want to strengthen our safety net. We want to improve our police department and restore relations between the community and the police department. And I want to name a building after Anna Jo Haynes. It only took us 6.5 years, but there was nothing more important we wanted to do than to get to this day. That's why when I say we've been working for this day, I meant it. And so I'm going to close with this. Anna Jo reminds me of Ruth in the Bible. She goes from rags to riches. She is connected to so many people. Wealthy, she's been at the highest levels in the castles. Shook hands with presidents, helped mayors get elected. Helped city council members get elected. State legislators, governors get elected. Presidents come, candidates for president come. They're going to talk to the likes of Anna Jo Haynes. And though she might be in the ivory tower, having been to the highest levels of society, she never forgets where she came from, just like Ruth. And when the community needs you the most, Anna Jo Garcia Haynes shows up. 84 years old. I'm here. I have the energy of a lioness. And I'm willing, and I'm ready, and I'm prepared. Send me. Anna Jo, we're not giving you anything you haven't earned. And I'm just thankful to God that He took this poor child from 5 Points to sit at your feet and be able to stand up today and say to you, thank you for making the difference in the life of a child. This one's for you. Anna Jo Garcia Haynes, you earned this tribute. I talked to the guy who took Anna Jo on a tour in Africa, the guy, and I was angry, and I said, well, I'm not angry yet. I said, how did she do? He said, man, she was climbing mountains. She wanted to go up and touch the gorillas. And I said, wait a minute, I said, you messing with me? He said, no, she really climbed mountains. And I said, you let her, now I became a son. And I was angry. I said, you let her climb mountains? He said, I couldn't keep up with her. So they said you're 120 pounds. I think it's more like 98. 5'2", not even 5 feet, about 4'9". I feel tall about you right now. And I want you to look across this room. You are a giant to every soul in this room. These are your branches. Say,
humbled by this. This is my neighborhood. It's where I was raised. I was raised in 7 different houses, always moving to a better one each time, but no further than a mile from this very location. So you can imagine what it means to me to have this building named for me. So I have to tell you a story, because you've heard all the other things I've done and so forth, the wonderful comments that people have made. But I want to tell you where I started in this neighborhood and then how I ended up where I am. So as a child, I attended Mariah Mitchell, which is just about 5 blocks from here. And what a great education that was. When I was finished there, and by the way, it was named for the first woman astronomer, and I never forgot that. That was a guidepost for me, that school was named after the first woman astronomer. I then went to Cole Middle School, and it was incredible. It was just another continuation of great education. I ended up at Manual, most diverse school in the entire city. And what an education I got there. It's carried me for all of my life. But before any of that happened, I was in kindergarten. And my mother dutifully walked me to school every day from 34th in Lawrence to Mitchell Elementary School. She would leave me there, and an hour later, I'd be back home. So, every day she walked me there, and every day I walked back home. It was safe to walk in those days of Florida. Mother was expecting me, so I did okay. But at the end of the school year, that really wise teacher said to my mother, I don't think she's ready to go to the next stage. And my mother said, well, okay, I trust you. She won't go to the next stage. It was the best thing that could have happened to me. I stayed in kindergarten an extra year. Now we talk about that a lot. Because we have preschool, which we didn't have then. You see, it's built from way back. So I became a leader in my preschool. Wasn't that brilliant? And we know that may be good for a lot of kids. So anyway, it really did make a difference in my life. Now, the next thing that pushed me toward what I'm doing, because the work that I do is for the kids, but it totally includes the parents and always has. So when I was little, my father came, the soldiers came home from the war, and my father lost his job because those soldiers took the jobs. Very difficult for my mother. Eventually, there was just no way for us to exist. So my mother and father divorced, and my mother became a welfare mother. So we lived with what was a stigma, not so much these days, but in those days. We all wore the same clothing. My grandmother sewed whip-rack on the sleeve and the bottom, so it might just look a little bit different. But I knew when I grew up that I'd want to do something that had to do with parents being able to work and do the things they needed to do to care for their children. So when Head Start came to the community, the great Bee Romer, who had started Montview, and Rosemary Marshall, who later became a representative, the three of us got together and brought Head Start to the city. The important thing about that is I stayed there for 5 years and worked on that. One of the best things that came from that was because parents were so involved that they wanted to be able to go to work and not be on public assistance. through the leadership that they got, they carried that to the city and to the Department of Human Services, to the faith community, to business leaders. We finally put something together that they thought was good, and that became Mile High Early Learning. So it came directly from the community to a group of people who then made that happen. So that was an incredible journey for me, and it placed me right where I needed to be. And so that's, of course, what I've been doing throughout these years. So I just thought that's just something that a lot of you may not know. But I think when the mayor and the other speakers today talked about all the things I've done and so forth, when you get busy, sometimes you forget to talk about some of the things that make you who you are. And so I thought it was important to share that with you. And I thought I would also tell you that I am writing a book, and all of you are going to be in the book. So when you get a call from me, and Bernard, I want you to do the pictures for me. So when I call you, I've already met two of you here today that I've already said, okay, I have to be in touch with you. Because what I want you to say, my heart is full. I'm so glad to see all of you. Some I haven't seen for a long time, and some I work with on a daily basis. But what I want to do is to make sure that I have all these stories bubbling inside me that I want to do now. But we got to go unveil, and I'll talk with you in the parking lot and over where the food is and so forth. I'm going to get phone numbers from you, because the book is going to be not only written by me, but by you, because nobody is able to do what I've been able to do without the help of other people. So if I'm being clapped for today, clap for yourself, because every single one of you had something to do with any successes I've had. And it said to me, you're doing good work, and we care that you care about the children, and that's the most important thing. So I want to thank the mayor, who's been talking about this for a long time, and Julia Gales about 4 years ago, but he did something really incredible in terms of refurbishing all of our centers. When he was a councilman, he headed up that group. So 5 of our centers were rehabilitated, and they're ready for the next 20 or 40 years. So the mayor did that because he cares so deeply about the children. So my heart is so full. I want to go down the row and say thank you, Dana, thank you, Dan, thank you, Tracy, thank you, Reggie, thank all the elected officials, thank you, Bob Barnes. Every single one of you. Where's Sydney? Where's little Sydney? There's Sydney. Thank you, Sydney. You put some joy in my heart when you were finding your mother, and now you're together forever. I love it. There's so many things I want to say about my work in the civil rights movement, but that's all going to be held for the book. But remember, because I'm keeping you for the snacks and all kinds of things. So thank you. My heart is so full I can hardly stand it. And it's so wonderful to be able to hug each of you. And I feel your love. And it makes me cry with deep happiness. Thank you for helping me help the children.
Let him take a picture and then go. Wait.
All right, well, we want everyone here to join us for the unveiling of the Anna Jo Garcia Haynes Early Learning Center. And so we have Brother Jeff and his drum ensemble that's going to lead us there. It's in the building that's just behind us where we'll do the unveiling. And there is a reception immediately following. We'd love for you all to stay and celebrate with us. So we're going to head right out of this door here, and we're going to take a left. Is that right, Pamela? Yep, and we're going to go to the left. You'll see the purple and white balloons that line the route, and you'll hear the drumming. And we'll have Anna Jo lead us.